last 3 years, the Kremlin, well, they thought they had the ultimate checkmate. They bet the house on overwhelming Ukraine's skies with cheap, mass-produced drones, thinking they could just bleed the defenders dry. But it is February 3rd, 2026. And the numbers are in. Ukraine hasn't just survived. They've completely flipped the script. They've built this invisible wall that is rewriting the rules of warfare as we speak.
It's an incredible turn of events, isn't it? I mean, we're not just talking about shooting things down anymore. This is a whole new ecosystem of defense, a sensor tapestry, and it completely changes the fundamental math of this war.
And if you stand with Ukraine and want the real story from the front lines, you need to subscribe to Defense Reports right now. It's your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports.
Absolutely. The lessons being learned there are, they're protecting all of Europe right now.
I'm Alex. Join me with Aria in the latest Deep Dive by Defense Report for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today, we are covering the sensor tapestry.
That really is the term of the hour. We're looking at how Ukraine combined, basically World War II-style acoustic listening, literally listening for engine noises, with some of the most advanced AI and jet-powered interceptor drones to neutralize that massive Shahed threat.
And you have to stick around because some of these details are they're absolutely wild. We're talking about a $3,000 gadget taking down a $100,000 target.
And we'll also get into the smartphone app that turned, pretty much the entire civilian population into a distributed radar network. Grandmothers are now a key part of the kill chain.
And the invisible net, this invisible net of thousands of microphones that is now protecting NATO borders. It is the sound of survival. So let's unpack this. We've been hearing about these Shahed attacks for years, but late 2025, that felt different. The intensity, it just ramped up, didn't it?
It changed dramatically. It was the scale. If you look at the comprehensive analytical review that just came out, in December 2025 alone, Russia launched over 5,100 Shahed-type UAVs.
Wait, hold on. 5,000.
In 1 month.
In one single month. I mean, do the math on that. That's over 160 drones every single day. Relentlessly.
That's not an attack, that's a conveyor belt of destruction.
Precisely. And it's a saturation level that no traditional air defense system on Earth, not Patriot, not Iron Dome, nothing, was designed to handle. And this brings us to what strategists are calling the math of ruin.
The math of ruin, that sounds ominous.
It is, because look, Russia's strategy wasn't just about blowing up a power station here or an apartment block there. It was all about economics. A Shahed drone costs, roughly $100,000 to make? Which sounds like a lot, but in military terms,
Pocket change.
it's nothing. Especially when you look at what it costs to shoot them down.
Right, because the missiles. I've seen the price tags on those. Exactly. If Ukraine fires a Patriot or an Iris-T missile, you're looking at $1 million, maybe even up to $3 million per shot. So Russia spends $100K, forces Ukraine to spend $1 million. Russia wins that exchange every single time, even when the drone gets shot down. You bankrupt the defender.
It's economic attrition. They're making defense too expensive to sustain. So by mid-2025, with, sometimes 200 drones a day, Western stockpiles must have been just screaming.
They were depleting. Fast,
Yeah.
It was production saturation. Russia was just churning these things out faster than the West could build complex missiles. You can't build a Patriot in a day.
But you can build a Shahed in an hour.
Right, so Ukraine realized we can't just shoot them down the old way. We have to change the cost curve itself.
They had to flip the math.
Yeah.
And the mission became what they call autonomous attrition.
Finding a way to kill cheap threats with even cheaper countermeasures. And the first step in that, before you can kill a swarm cheaply, you have to find it cheaply. And you can't put expensive radar everywhere.
Which is where they went low-tech to go high-tech. Let's talk about these Skyfortress and Zvuk systems, because when I hear air defense sensor, I'm picturing a giant rotating radar dish on a truck. But that is not what this is.
Not even close. Think much smaller, much simpler, and a whole lot quieter. You see, radar is what we call an active sensor. It's like a flashlight in a dark room. It sends out a beam that lets you see, sure, but it also tells the enemy exactly where you are.
Right, you let yourself up, you become the target.
Exactly. Zvuk and Skyfortress are passive. They just, listen, imagine thousands of small acoustic sensors. They cost about $500 each.
$500, that's less than a new iPhone.
Much less.
Yeah.
And they're scattered everywhere. Cell towers, rooftops, utility poles, just out in fields. They use these things called acoustic mirrors.
Yeah.
Basically just curved plastic dishes that focus sound, hooked up to a microphone and a tiny computer.
Okay, but the world's a noisy place. I mean, you've got chainsaws, traffic, dogs, wind. How does a $500 microphone know the difference between my neighbor's lawnmower and a suicide drone?
That's where the AI comes in. This isn't just a microphone, it's an edge computing device. The system's trained on one specific sound, the acoustic signature of the Shahed 136 engine. We all know that sound by now. That moped or lawnmower hum.
That terrifyingly distinct hum. Yeah.
It is. So the AI just filters out everything else. Chainsaws, birds, cars. It ignores them. It hunts specifically for that engine frequency.
So the sensor hears the hum, the AI says, that's our guy, and then what?
It's unbelievably fast. It triangulates. Because they're all networked, if 3 or more sensors hear the same sound, they can pinpoint the location. From the moment of detection to that target appearing on the Delta Situational Awareness map,
Yeah.
the map all the commanders use, it takes about 12 seconds.
12 seconds, that's practically real time.
It is, and the range is impressive for something so small. It'll detect drones up to 5 kilometers away, and even cruise missiles up to 7.
So you create this mesh network. If you have enough of them, thousands of them, nothing can fly low and slow without being heard. The hills literally have ears.
They literally do. It creates that sensor tapestry. And here's where it gets really interesting for the bigger picture. This tech is so effective, it's not staying in Ukraine. Lithuania is deploying this exact Ukrainian system in 2026 to protect its own borders.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, after those airspace incursions in the Baltics. So now NATO members are buying Ukrainian tech to feel safe. That is a massive vote of confidence.
It is. It just proves that innovation born from desperation is often, far superior to peacetime R&D.
Yeah.
But the sensors on telephone poles, that's only half the story. The other half involves, well, the people themselves.
The ways of war. This is the part that it still blows my mind. The idea of crowdsourcing your air defense. We're talking about the EPPO app.
Right, it's a mobile app available to any citizen.
But I have to ask, can you really trust that kind of data? You're out walking your dog, you hear a weird noise, you pull out your phone. Is that really reliable enough to act on?
It sounds like it could be chaos, right?
Yeah.
But they solved that. First, every user has to be verified through the DIA government app. That's crucial. It means every report is from a verified citizen. So you don't get, Russian bots flooding the system with fake targets.
Okay, so the network is trusted. Got it.
Right. And once you're in, the interface is dead simple. You put your phone in the direction of the sound or the object. You pick what it is, drone, missile, plane, and you press a big red button.
But one person pointing a phone, that can't be precise, can it? I mean, my phone's compass gets confused if I'm near a microwave.
You're right, one report isn't precise at all. But the AI magic is in the aggregation. When you get 100 people along a highway all reporting a sound at slightly different times from slightly different angles, the AI draws a vector. It's triangulation on a massive scale. It can predict the trajectory with surprising accuracy.
It's using the law of large numbers to filter out the noise and find the signal.
Exactly. And the stats are just huge. Over 600,000 downloads, 200,000 active users. Deputy Minister Chernohorenko said this app helps close 80% of the sky.
80%? That's staggering.
It gives those mobile fire teams, the guys in pickup trucks with machine guns, enough warning to get into position. They know it's coming before they can even see it.
And there's another feature in the app, the It's Coming At You feature. I found that particularly chilling, but also incredibly smart.
Yes. It's basically a personalized air raid siren. Because the system calculates that trajectory so well, it can send a push notification specifically to users who are in the path of the missile or its debris. It's not just air raid in Kiev, it's air raid heading for your neighborhood.
And that saves lives. Full stop. It stops people ignoring the sirens because they think, oh, it's probably far away. If my phone says it's headed for my street, I'm moving.
Correct. But detection, whether it's by a microphone or a grandmother with a smartphone, that's still just step one. You still have to neutralize the threat.
Yeah.
You have to do it cheaply.
Right. We're back to the math of ruin. You can't use the $1 million missile. So enter the hunter-killers, the Sting, and the Bullet.
This is the kinetic part of the solution. The Sting from the Wild Hornets group is essentially an FPV, a first-person view drone, but it's heavily modified for interception at high altitudes.
So what makes it different from the little quadcopters we see dropping grenades in trenches?
Altitude and speed. It can get up to 10,000 feet and hit speeds of 160 kilometers per hour. That's about 100 miles per hour.
That's fast for a quadcopter.
It is. But for some targets, it wasn't quite fast enough. The Shahed flies at about 180 kilometers per hour, If you're chasing from behind, the Sting could struggle, and that's why we're now seeing the Bullet. This is a jet-powered interceptor drone.
A jet-powered mini drone. That sounds like something out of science fiction.
It pretty much is. It can hit 450 kilometers per hour. That is more than fast enough to chase down a Shahed from behind and take it out.
Okay, so you have these high-speed drones, but here's the problem I see. The Russians aren't stupid. They have massive electronic warfare. They're jamming the signals. How does an operator keep control when their video feed just turns to static?
That is the last mile problem. And you're right, Russian EW is very, very strong. As that drone gets close to the target, the video feed almost always cuts out from the jamming.
So you're just flying blind at 400 kilometers an hour.
Normally, yes. But the Ukrainian upgrade is AI targeting. Once the operator sees the Shahed on their screen, maybe a kilometer out, they lock onto it visually. From that moment on, the drone's own onboard computer takes over. It stops listening to the human controller and just uses machine vision to fly itself into the target.
So it becomes a homing missile for those last few seconds.
Exactly. It completely ignores the jamming because it doesn't need a signal anymore. It just sees the target shape and flies right into it.
That takes care of human error and the jamming problem in one move. So what about the cost? We talked about the $1 million Patriot. What does a Sting cost?
A Sting costs between $3,000 and $5,000.
$3,000 versus a $100,000 Shahed.
Now, Ukraine is winning the economic exchange by a factor of 20, or even more. And the production numbers, they're wild. Ukraine is now producing 1,500 of these interceptors per day.
Per day? That's an industrial swarm.
It's a sustainable way to fight. You aren't begging allies for more missiles every week. You are printing your own ammunition.
That's incredible. But I have to imagine there are still leakers. Drones that get past the Stings, or on days where the weather is just too bad. What happens then?
That's where Western integration is still key. You always need that layered defense. And we're seeing some really high-tech Western gear filling that gap for the ones that slip through. For instance, the Terrahawk Paladin.
For the British system, right.
Yeah, it's a short-range air defense gun. We're
Sure.
seeing it protecting key infrastructure like power plants. And then you've got the Sky Ranger from Rheinmetall.
Ah, the German tech.
Right.
The mobile turret.
Right. But the magic there isn't really the gun, it's the ammunition. It uses something called programmable airburst ammo.
Explain that. What is programmable airburst?
Okay, so imagine a shotgun shell, but it's smart. The radar tells the shell the exact distance to the drone. The shell flies out, but it doesn't have to hit the drone directly, which is super hard. Instead, it explodes in the air right next to the drone, creating this huge cloud of tungsten shrapnel.
So it just shreds anything in that patch of sky. It doesn't need a bullseye.
Exactly. It's incredibly effective. So you have the acoustic sensors listening, the app tracking, the cheap drones intercepting, and then these high-tech Western guns playing goalie.
And this whole integrated system is so successful that the EU is actually looking at copying it. We're hearing about this drone wall concept for NATO's eastern border.
And it's not just copying, is it? Ukraine is actively teaching them how to do it.
Right, through that JTech Center.
The NATO-Ukraine Joint Analysis Training and Education Center. It's a formal way for Ukraine to share these lessons, to say, look, here's what we learned in the trenches, here's how you stop a modern air force without going bankrupt. Because frankly, NATO doesn't have enough missiles to fight this kind of war either.
And the results just speak for themselves. I saw President Zelensky recently released a stat that these interceptor drones have a 68% success rate.
Which is phenomenal for a system that costs peanuts. And it frees up those expensive Patriots for the things a small drone can't stop, like the big ballistic missiles.
So let's just recap this three-punch combo that Ukraine has developed, because it really feels like a blueprint for the future of defense.
It really is. First, you've got the acoustic sensors, the Zvuk and Sky Fortress systems. They hear the threat passively, creating that cheap, invisible detection net.
Then second, you have the EPKO app. That's the civilian engagement layer. It tracks the threat, it gives you a vector using the population itself.
And third, you have the hunter killers. The FPV Stings, the jet-powered bullets. They kill the threat cheaply, using autonomous homing, and they flip that whole economic cost curve back in the defender's favor.
It's a comprehensive, layered architecture. You know, we started this deep dive talking about Russia's plan to break Ukraine with the math of ruin, but looking at all this, it feels like Ukraine just solved the equation.
They did. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, I think we are seeing the end of an era. The era where air superiority meant you had the most expensive jets. Ukraine has shown that a sensor tapestry and a swarm of cheap AI drones can deny the sky to a superpower.
That's a sobering thought for every military planner out there who loves their big, expensive toys.
It is. If a $5,000 drone can stop a strategic bombardment, then every military budget on Earth is currently obsolete.
Yeah.
The billion-dollar fighter jet might have just been checkmated by something built in a garage.
That is a heavy thought to leave us on. It's a brave new world, and it seems like Ukraine is writing the manual.
It certainly is.
Well, you've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Arya, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry.
Thanks for listening.
And don't forget to subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.